Short stories for learning English. The Lion and the Poor Slave. A slave, ill-treated by his master, runs away to the forest. There he comes across a lion in pain because of a thorn in his paw. The slave bravely goes forward and removes the thorn gently. The lion, without hurting him, goes away. Some days later, the slave's master comes hunting to the forest and catches many animals and cages them. The slave is spotted by the master's men, who catch him and bring him to the cruel master. The master asks for the slave to be thrown into the lion's cage. The slave is awaiting his death in the cage when he realizes that it is the same lion that he had helped. The slave rescued the lion and all other caged animals. Moral of the story: one should help others in need. We get the rewards of our helpful acts in return. The Fox and the Grapes. One afternoon, a fox was walking through the forest and spotted a bunch of grapes hanging from over a lofty branch. Just the thing to quench my thirst, he thought. Taking a few steps back, the fox jumped and just missed the hanging grapes. Again, the fox took a few paces back and tried to reach them, but still failed. Finally, giving up, the fox turned up his nose and said, "They're probably sour anyway," and proceeded to walk away. Moral of the story: it's easy to despise what you can't have.
How to hunt a monkey. Inspirational short story about letting go. Rather than chasing them up a tree or shooting arrows from below, they'd put a heavy glass jar with a narrow neck on the floor, which had the monkey's favorite food inside. They'd then step back and hide, waiting for the unsuspecting animal to approach. When it did, the monkey would reach inside, clench a fist around the food, and try to pull it out. However, the narrow neck of the jar would stop the poor monkey from getting its hand out. It'd pull and pull, but to no avail. There was simply no way to get its hand out of the jar without releasing the food. Rather than letting go, though, the monkey would persevere, refusing to drop its dinner. The hunters would then approach and catch it to enjoy a meal of their own. Don't be like that monkey, warned the man. In life, to fight another day and grow as person, you must know when to quit, when to move on, and when to let go of whatever's holding you back. Moral of the story: sometimes you have to let go and give up what you have now in order to receive something better in the future. Don't let stubbornness be your downfall.
The value of money.
At the beginning of a new school year, a class teacher stands up in front of her students holding a $100 bill. She tells them, "Put your hands up if you want this money." Every hand in the room goes up, to which the teacher says, "I am going to give this money to someone here, but first, let me do this." She takes the bill and crumples it up in her hands before asking, "Who still wants it?" The hands stay up. The teacher then drops the bill on the floor, stamps and grinds it into the ground, and picks it back up. "How about now?" she asks again. The hands stay up. Class, I hope you see the lesson here. It didn't matter what I did to this money. You still wanted it because its value stayed the same. Even with its creases and dirtiness, it's still worth $100. She continues, "It's the same with us. There will be similar times in your life when you're dropped, bruised, and muddied. Yet no matter what happens, you never lose your value." Moral of the story: life's hardships are inevitable and we'll all be put through the ringer at some point, often through no fault of our own. Don't let these challenges alter your feelings of self-worth. You'll always be enough. You have something unique and special to give and offer the world. The Two Wolves. An old Cherokee chief sat down to teach his grandson about life. "There's a fight going on inside me," he tells the young boy, "a fight between two wolves. One wolf is evil. It's full of malice, anger, greed, self-pity, and false pride. The other is good. It's full of peace, love, joy, kindness, and humility. This same fight is going on inside you and everyone else on the face of the earth. The grandson was quiet, pondering this revelation for a moment before asking grandfather, "Which wolf will win?" The old man smiled and replied, "The one you feed." Moral of the story: good and evil exist within each of us. It's our responsibility to own that reality and do whatever we can to nurture the good. The story of the Grateful Starfishes. One morning, an elderly man was walking along the beach when he noticed a young boy picking something off the sand and throwing it into the sea. As he got closer, the man realized the child was throwing stranded starfishes that had washed up on the shore back into the breaking waves. Approaching the boy, the man asked what he was doing. "The starfish will die if they're still on the shore when the sun rises," he replied. Perplexed, the old man said, "But that's pointless. There are countless miles of beach and thousands of starfish. It doesn't matter how many you return to the water. You can't make a difference." Unfazed, the boy bent down, picked up another starfish, and tossed it into the sea. "It matters to this one," he said. Moral of the story: no matter the odds of success or the scale of the challenge, your actions can make a difference. It's better to light a candle than curse the dark. Every little counts. Doing something to make a positive change is always better than nothing.
The elephant and the rope.
One day a man walked past a camp of elephants. Looking closer, he was surprised to see that these mighty animals weren't held in cages or kept in chains. The only thing stopping them from escaping: a thin rope tied from one of their legs to a simple pole in the ground. Confused as to why they didn't use their strength to break the rope, he asked the trainer why they weren't attempting to run away. To this, the trainer replied, "As baby elephants, we use the same system. But at that age, the rope is strong enough to stop them from escaping. They grow up like this, believing they can never break the rope, so even as adults, they stay put." In other words, these powerful, magnificent, and intelligent elephants didn't believe they could free themselves, so they never tried. Moral of the story: our personal beliefs are powerful beyond measure and often dictate our outcomes. They can work for or against us. Identify your limiting beliefs so you can push against them. These confidence affirmations should help. The Fisherman and the Businessman. Once upon a time, there was a businessman who was sitting on the beach in a small Italian village. As he sat, taking a brief break from the stress of his daily schedule, he saw a fisherman rowing a small boat back into the harbor. In the boat were a few large fish. Impressed, the businessman asked the fisherman, "How long does it take you to catch so many fish?" To which he replied, "Oh, not so long." The businessman was confused. "Why don't you fish for longer to catch even more?" More. "This is enough to feed my entire family and even offer some to my neighbors," the fisherman said. "So what do you do for the rest of your day?" inquired the businessman. The fisherman replied, "Well, I've usually have caught my fish by late morning, at which point I go home and play with my kids. In the afternoon, I take a nap and read. In the evening, I go to the village to have a drink with my friends, play guitar, sing, and dance into the night." Putting his entrepreneurial hat on, the businessman offered a suggestion. "I have a PhD in business. I can help you become much more successful. From now on, you should spend longer at sea and catch as many fish as possible. When you've saved enough money, buy a bigger boat to catch even more fish. From there, you'll soon be able to buy more boats, set up your own company, build a production plant to can the fish and control distribution, and move to the city to control your other branches." To this, the fisherman asks, "And after that?" The businessman laughs. "After that, You'll be able to live like a king. Take your company public, float your shares, and be rich. And after that, asks the fisherman once more. After that, you can retire, move to a house by the sea. Wake up early in the morning to go fishing. Then return home to play with your kids. Take a nap in the afternoon and join your friends in the village to drink. Play guitar and dance into the night. Puzzled, the fisherman replies, "But isn't that what I'm doing already?" Moral of the story: be content with what you have. Do you really need to keep pushing for more? Stress is often a choice. There's joy and peace in simplicity. The story of the fig tree. I saw my life branching out before me like the green fig tree in the story. From the tip of every branch, like a fat purple fig, a wonderful future beckoned and winked. One fig was a husband and a happy home and children. And another fig was a famous poet, and another fig was a brilliant professor, and another fig was E.G., the amazing editor, and another fig was Europe and Africa and South America, and another fig was Constantine and Socrates and Attila and a pack of other lovers with queer names and offbeat professions, and another fig was an Olympic lady crew champion, and beyond and above these figs were many more figs I couldn't quite make out. I saw myself sitting in the crotch of this fig tree, starving to death, just because I couldn't make up my mind which of the figs I would choose. I wanted each and every one of them, but choosing one meant losing all the rest. And as I sat there, unable to decide, the figs began to wrinkle and go black, and, one by one, they plopped to the ground at my feet. Moral of the story: decide. Take action. There's no right or wrong answer when you're choosing between two positive routes or outcomes. Wait too long and the decision will be made for you. The pursuit of happiness. There was once a group of 100 people attending a seminar on personal development. In the middle of their talk, the speaker stops and decides to run an impromptu group activity. He hands out a balloon to each attendee and tells them to write their name on it. The balloons are then collected and placed in an adjacent room. The speaker then instructs the 100 attendees to enter that room and, within 5 short minutes, find the balloon with their name on it. Pandemonium breaks loose as they charge in, pushing and colliding with each other as they desperately search for their name. The 5 minutes pass and nobody succeeds. The speaker then tells each person to pick up any random balloon and give it the person whose name is written on it. Within a few minutes, everyone has their balloon back. He then said, "What just happened with those balloons is exactly what happens in our search for happiness. We frantically look for it all around us, not knowing where it is. Yet our happiness lies in the happiness of others. By giving them their happiness, you get yours." Moral of the story: happiness and fulfillment rarely come from selfish pursuits, but almost always come from doing good deeds for others. By helping others, we help ourselves. Thank you very much for watching this video. Please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel.